The dungeon crawl. A staple of tabletop, board, and video games. It was once the center of gameplay, but oh how far it has fallen. In modern times, it's devolved into a slog, a chore to get through so I can go back to the fun bits. Part of this can be attributed to changing tastes among players, but it doesn't help that so many of these experiences have been watered down for the sake of simplicity. I'm looking at you, Bleak Falls Barrow. I know you're the one that did this. Blue Wyrm is an hour-long experience that re-elevates the dungeon crawl to its vaunted status. Through a blend of engaging gameplay, great art direction, and emergent moments, it all just comes together seamlessly. Honestly, my only complaint is that I wish I got another half hour or so of content. If this looks like your kind of jam, go check it out right away. It's free on itch.io. However, if you need a little more convincing, I'll do my best in the next couple of minutes to sell you on this free game. Story-wise, it's a little bare bones, but it's not the real focus here. Our wife, the Blue Knight, Lucia, has not returned after setting out to slay an ancient evil. I suppose it was our turn to take care of household marital responsibilities, because when we receive a letter from Lucia telling us to come looking for her, we spring into action. Rumors have sprung up about a new crypt that has appeared in our neighboring land with strange creatures harrying the local peoples. Our sixth sense tells us this may have something to do with Lucia, and so we set out to investigate. We immediately cut out all the lead up and jump into the crypt. This experience is entirely focused on the actual dungeon crawl to find Lucia. The gameplay is surprisingly simplistic as well. Outside of your usual first-person movement, our only other way to interact with the environment is through attacking. Blue Wyrm makes use of a directional combat system, with each button on the mouse corresponding to a different attack. Left mouse is a sidelong sweep, good for hitting multiple foes at once. Right mouse is an upward swipe that comes out kinda fast and is good for knocking certain enemies skyward. And middle mouse is the stinger attack from the Devil May Cry series, featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series. Good for creating space in any situation. Landing one of each type on a single enemy within a short period grants you some healing, which is really helpful in a pinch. Each attack can also be charged into a much stronger version, which provides a speed boost if landed. Unlike usual, these can be somewhat tricky to land, as the attack needs to be perfectly timed to actually be considered charged. It goes something like this. After holding the attack button for a few moments, your sword will flash and a little sound effect will play. The window to land the charge attack is essentially instantaneously after this. This sounds a little tricky at first, but you better get good because the game lasts approximately 30 seconds before skill checking you. This wall, and many others throughout the dungeon, can only be broken with a perfectly charged attack. And honestly, I respect the dev for this immensely, as you really need to get this timing down to experience the combat to the fullest. At first, this was all a little clunky. I felt like a newborn losing most of my health to the first enemy and then dying in the second room, but eventually, I was continually surprised by how such simple gameplay could create so many emergent cinematic moments for me. Especially once I got the hang of charge attacks and managed to start chaining them together, there's nothing more satisfying than actually mastering the combat system, given you only get an hour to do so, but the game simply would not be as interesting if it weren't for some great enemy design. Given the game is only an hour long and there are only 4 enemy types, notwithstanding bosses, there isn't a massive amount of variance, but you don't need quantity when every encounter is so engaging. Each enemy takes on a different role, which only really begins to shine when they work in tandem. They're initially introduced on their own, so you get to learn their steps and how they fit into things, and hopefully by the time that you start seeing groups of them, you've had enough practice dealing with them. Apart from the gameplay aspect and how they work together, some of the designs are really good from an atmosphere and aesthetic standpoint. 2 of the enemies in particular actually kinda scared me when I first encountered them. Which is kind of surprising because it's not really built as a horror game, but there are certain moments where I definitely got kind of fucking scared. I mean, here you can just look at the camera and the way I'm moving, like, you can tell I was freaked out by this thing, and honestly, I mean, I'm not going to talk about it too much because you should really see it yourself, but final enemy design that gets introduced is great. Something about it just really freaks me out. I don't like the way it moves. I don't like the noises it makes. Fighting them are difficult in a way that I did not think that they would be after, 45 minutes of gameplay. Speaking of aesthetics, I especially love how colorful the game is, especially in a world where everything seems to be homogenizing towards neutral earth tones. The psychedelic vibe is great, but it also plays into the atmosphere of the crypt as you kind of learn more about it. I especially love how this mirroring effect was used to create hidden areas. It really lends the idea that this whole place is nonsensical, and all in all, it's a good game. It's short, it's free. Go play it. Bye now.